Hey guys, what's up? So, this is Gabby and I am back with another video. I'm actually coming from my camera on my computer as well, so I'm just taking it old school. And I just wanted this video to be a little bit of a catch-up video, let you guys know what I've been up to, and also a chance for me to not be so scripted and so, blase, coming with the same type of videos. I made an Insta story about this the other day, but I totally love coming to you guys and making these videos around social work, the social impact space, career-based videos. But this wasn't really where my channel started. My channel was very eclectic, and I used to make videos dealing with what I was going through as a 20-something-year-old, just trying to survive in this crazy world, about my travels. I had a whole series on how my life was living in South Korea and just taking you guys on that journey with me. So that's really where my channel started. It was a place for me to go to be creative and to really just be myself, and there wasn't a lot of guidelines around it. I wasn't too strict around the type of content I brought to you guys. And those, I feel like, were the good old days of YouTube. And now the way the algorithm works is if you want to see any type of growth on your channel, you have to be very, very consistent around what your niche is. These days, if you want to grow on YouTube, you almost always have to have a niche, so a specific area that you're focusing on and making all of your content around. So for me, recently I have dedicated my niche to being social work, career advice, and working within the social impact space, and that has caused a lot of growth on my channel. But the downside of that is I am more than just my career, right? Yes, I am a social worker and that's a big part of my life, but I am so many other things as well. So for me to only come to you guys and talk about a small subset of who I am and what I do can become a bit bland after a while. It can become a bit boring. So that's really been what I've been going through lately. That's how I've been feeling lately. I haven't been as motivated or energized to make content around social work, even though I really like to do it. I just think I've been becoming a bit burned out lately. So I talked to my Instagram audience. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do that so you can stay in touch with me. But I talked to my Instagram audience and I let them know that every now and then I am going to be coming with these videos that are a little bit off brand, so to speak, and a little bit off script, just so you guys can get to know me better and so I can feel like I'm bringing my authentic self to the table, bringing my whole self to the table. I don't want to just bring the social work side of me or the side of me that loves to talk to college students about career readiness and talk to people about choosing a career, finding their path, finding their passion, etc. Yes, there's that part of me that is very passionate about doing just that, and that's why I made this channel. But I like to do other things and I like to talk about other things. So I want to switch it up a bit and start bringing more videos just like this, more lifestyle videos, and hopefully I can somehow connect that type of video to my regular content. So one of my subscribers recommended that I started doing more videos about self-care and what that looks like for me and how that integrates with the type of work that I do, because of course we all know that social work ties in with self-care. So that could be another way for me to kind of integrate who I am, what I do on a day-to-day basis outside of just work. I want to do more videos like that, so please be on the lookout for these kind of videos. If you don't like them and you just want to come and hear about what I have to say about social work, just skip over that video and rest assured knowing that I will get back to the regularly scheduled program. Week after week after week after week of putting out social work content can really tire someone. It can make anyone exhausted. So every now and then I will break things up a bit and put out a more lifestyle type of video. So I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys like that. So another thing I want to mention, I recently moved. Of course, you guys can tell with the background situation. So that's a really big change in my life. So one piece of update for you. So the reason I moved was because, as you know, I work from home now. I live with my partner and he also works from home. So we were really growing out of our small 1-bedroom apartment. I loved that apartment a lot. It was very close to downtown Detroit, so it was really great being in the hustle and bustle of everything. I lived in that specific community for about 4 years, so I loved that area. But as Detroit becomes more popular, the value of apartments also are going to become more increased. So we needed a bigger space, and it was hard. It was pretty much impossible for us to find a space where we were living right next to downtown that was reasonable. So we now live outside of the city of Detroit. So we live in more of the Metro Detroit area. It's different, right? Because I'm used to being right in the middle of the city, being in the hustle and bustle. But with COVID-19, cities have changed a lot though, including Detroit. So the city really wasn't what I had come accustomed to in the first place. We didn't really go downtown as often as we used to. And that's really why people pay that money to live close to downtown centers, because there's so much action, there's so much to do. But with COVID, it was almost like living so close to downtown wasn't even worth it anymore, because we couldn't take advantage of what downtown lifestyles have to offer. So with that, we decided to move outside of downtown Detroit, outside of the city, and I'm pretty happy with where we live. It's definitely an adjustment. It isn't as exciting, right, as living in the city, of course, but it is more peaceful. It's very beautiful. I'm surrounded by a lot of nature. So I feel like my self-care practices have changed because of that. They've definitely become focused more on the outdoor lifestyle. I recently got a bike, so I've been biking a lot. It's definitely been a lifesaver for me and my overall mental health with everything happening in the world. And another change, right? I cut off my locks. So now I have curly hair. And if you guys have been following my channel for a while, some of you remember the days where I had curly hair. So it's back and I'm pretty happy with it. I've had short hair, lockless hair for about 2 months now, and I'm pretty used to it now. It's pretty carefree for me. I don't do too much. I am very simple with it, just like I was when I had my locks, of course. I do like the versatility. I can play around with more styles. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you may see that I had a little curly wig on the other day. So just kind of playing around with that. So switching things up has been fun for me. And yeah, I think it's the change that I needed. I feel like I was becoming very stagnant internally, and I feel like my world was becoming very stagnant. It was best for me anyway, because I don't totally know if my hair texture is ideal for locks. I had some locks in the front that like never locked up, and I had to just keep twisting them every morning to try to get them to lock up. And I also don't think my scalp enjoyed having locks, because I am prone to dandruff and that kind of thing. So I need to be washing my hair more regularly. And as my locks grew, it was taking a long time for them to dry. And I felt like I couldn't like get really close to my roots and in between all of the locks the way that I wanted to. So it's just been a good change for me. And I've been playing around with different headbands now that I have short hair. So yeah, it's been fun, but I am ending my work day and I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that it's really, really nice outside still, because we know how it goes in Michigan and in the Midwest. When wintertime hits, it's going to be a lot of snow. It's going to be very, very cold. So take advantage of this good weather while you have it and enjoy. That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna take you guys along with me. This is how I do self-care. Okay, so before I go out and get some exercise, I want to get some food first. I sometimes get dizzy if I don't eat. So that's something I always have to make sure I do before I exercise, just so I won't feel sick. So I have a new kitchen set up, you guys. It looks much different than my old kitchen. It's much bigger. I feel like I enjoy just being in the space more. So I am about to eat one of my favorite little snacks. I used to live in South Korea, and when I came back to the United States, I had a full-blown ramen noodle addiction. So I was eating the traditional ramen noodles, which tend to have a whole bunch of sodium in it. I don't think it was healthy. So I am now eating another brand that is supposed to be more healthy. It's supposed to have less sodium. It's called Mike's Mighty Good. I'm kind of surprised that I like it because it is very different. You know, the ingredient list is very different than traditional ramen. I still have traditional ramen and I eat it from time to time, but just not nearly as much. So like I have this. I have a bunch of those actually. So I eat them every now and then for a special treat, but I try to eat like a traditional ramen alternative, which is the one that I just showed you, which is pretty good. I recommend it if you are a ramen addict like myself and you're just looking for something a bit healthier. So I'm out of the house now and I'm just walking, getting some fresh air. And I thought it would be a good time for me to talk a little bit about what self-care means to me, because I know for different people it has a different definition, but for me, you know, thinking about self-care in terms of taking care of myself, preserving myself, and especially given the type of work that I do, I think it's specifically important for social workers and people who work in this area to practice self-care. For me, I feel like self-care has taken this different type of ideology, and now a lot of people use it as a phrase that means spoil yourself, splurge on yourself. It's an excuse to maybe spend a lot of money or to overindulge. And it's not my place to tell you what overindulgent behavior means to you. Everybody has to determine what that means for themselves and for their overall health and well-being. But for me, I think about self-care in a very holistic way, a very long-term way. It's not just looking at my current situation. So maybe someone would say that going out, having a lot of wine is a form of self-care for them. For me, I don't look at that as self-care because it's happiness in the present, but long-term, it's not really good for me. When I think about self-care, I'm thinking about the preservation of myself long-term. In my opinion, that's not a form of self-care if you indulge in unhealthy activities just because you're looking for happiness in the present. For example, like a few things I would do for self-care is getting exercise, going out and walking, doing yoga, just keeping my body active and moving, whether or not I want to do it in the moment. And I also don't overexert myself either. When I exercise, I don't go too hard. Try to work out or get my body moving for at least 30 minutes a day. Hey, so I am now at this very beautiful park. This is one of the benefits of living on the outside of the city and not right in the middle of the city. You get access to more nature, more outdoors, more fresh air. I've been enjoying a lot of different nature trails, a lot of different parks, and just being around greenery, I think, is another form of self-care to me. I grew up in the inner city, in an urban community, and that's where I have tended to live up until this point. Because of that, I have kind of a fear or an aversion to certain outdoor type of things. So for example, I don't really like bugs. I don't really like being out with like things flying around me. I get a little bit nervous about what's creeping in the woods or, you know, in certain outdoor environments, what type of animals are there. I'm not used to deer and all that stuff that people who maybe live in the suburbs or live next to the outdoors are used to. I'm not used to that. So if I come in contact with a deer, I'm gonna freak out. Where I live now, it actually has parks that have deer walk through it from time to time. And to me, that's like really bizarre. That's one way I'm practicing self-care, trying to become more united with nature and the outdoors. I feel like it really feeds my soul when I do this. it's just another challenge for myself. And I'll say that that's another form of self-care as well. Always giving yourself little challenges and growth opportunities, providing that for yourself so that you have something to strive for and something that you can achieve to make you feel whole and like you're growing. Because if you don't grow, you die. Living during COVID, it's crazy because we're stuck in the house. Maybe we're not as active as we used to be in our communities or within our jobs. Maybe we have lost our jobs or lost other opportunities for us to really grow and develop our talents. So we have to create those opportunities for ourselves, even if it's something really simple. So usually when I come here, I come with my partner just because I'm a little bit nervous about the outdoors, as I mentioned before, but I'm trying to start exposing myself to it bit by bit, a little bit more, just so I can get used to it. The last time I came, we actually saw a deer and I kind of freaked out. It was like really quiet and just staring at me, and I was staring at it. I think we both were just like freaked out by each other. And that experience threw me off a little bit, but there's no reason for me to be afraid of outdoors. People have been outdoors for many, many millennials. This is, where the foundation of humanity really began. We didn't used to live the way we live now, so separated from the outdoors and other animals. So just to kind of recap, in this video, I talked about how self-care for me is getting exercise, keeping my body moving, even when I don't want to, getting out in nature, exposing myself to the great outdoors because I know that has health benefits for me, exposing myself to new challenges and new opportunities. I think we do have to be selfish sometimes and go internally and care for ourselves and do things that are good for us. We're living in a very crazy time. This country has a whole lot of growth to do, but the truth is I cannot solve all of the issues in this country, and I feel like for so many years that pressure has been put on Black women specifically to bear that weight and to try to solve all of these issues. So I have to really be honest with myself and also make sure that I'm not carrying a burden dealing with race and, saving the world or by myself. I can't have that on my shoulders alone. I think our society has really relied heavily on Black women to keep things together, to really fight for equality, to stand up for what's wrong, and to stand up for those who have been treated unjust. And I think Black women serve very well in those roles because we are very caring, we're nurturing, we know what it feels like to be disregarded, disrespected, treated unequally. So we're often the ones who stand up on behalf of a lot of social issues. Of course, I'm a social worker, so I kind of fit into that mode. I also understand that because Black women often put themselves on the front lines, at the front of the battle, so often we end up having health issues, emotional issues because we're bearing that weight. If you look at different stats for illnesses, you'll find that Black women often have more illnesses, specifically those related to stress, at higher numbers than a lot of other groups. So I have to be very considerate and thoughtful about that, and thoughtful about where I put my time, how I'm utilizing my time, and what battles I'm taking on. I'm not going to be one of those people who inundate myself in these battles and think about it 24/7, because I know if I do that, I'm not going to be well off. In order for me to be there for anyone else, I have to think about self-preservation. Another reason it's important to find your niche in the social work space is so you don't feel the need to always be on the front lines for every single fight dealing with social justice, because it's just not realistic for us to do that, especially if we want to be healthy and safe. I know that may be kind of surprising to hear from a social worker telling you not to stand up and fight on the front lines for every social issue that exists, but there are a lot of social issues out there. We can't possibly be out there fighting for everything. So I say all that to say, at the root of self-care for me is understanding that fact and acting accordingly. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't step away, or that, oh, because you're a social worker, you need to be on the front line fighting for every issue. No, that's not the case. I think it's important for you to have your niche or area where you're dedicating your time to trying to better and improve in society. Leave all the other areas for those experts who focus on that specific niche, because we can't be out there fighting for everything. And that's social workers as a whole. I know I mentioned Black women in specific, but I'm talking about social workers in general as well. That is another way that I look at self-care. I look at it as self-preservation. I look at it as a way for me to help not just my present self, but also my future self. I'm out here, you guys. I'm out here in the woods. I'm just trying to let this sun soak in and just replenish me, because it feels really good. And also, I know I don't have on a mask. I have been more than 100 feet from everyone. And when I'm doing my walks without a mask, I'm very intentional about where I do walk, because I want to make sure I'm not walking in places where other people could bump into me. Just wanted to let you guys know that. I think I just heard a snake. On that note, I think I'm about to get out of here, because as I said, I want to challenge myself, but slowly. I am going to continue my walk, and then I'm going to talk to you guys later. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do so. Let me know what you like about this type of video. If you want me to do more self-care related videos in the future, be sure to let me know in the comment section. And on that note, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.